You wake up. Your mouth tastes like stale breath and old meat. You reach blindly for a toothbrush that does not exist. It is 30,000 years ago. For 99% of human history, this is not a hypothetical scenario. Do you assume your ancestors were filthy? You probably imagine them covered in mud and rotting flesh. You think a single cut would fester and end your life. You assume they simply rotted away in the dirt. What if everything you believe about ancient hygiene is completely wrong? You sit up on a bed of woven grasses and animal skins. Your skin feels slightly oily, but it is not uncomfortably dirty. You do not have a hot shower waiting for you down the hall. You do not have a porcelain sink with running water and bright mirrors. How do you start your day? You step outside your temporary shelter. The crisp morning air hits your face and clears your lungs. You hear the distant call of a bird and see the sky turning a pale shade of purple. You walk down to the nearest fast-moving river. You cup the freezing water in your bare hands. You splash it onto your face. It wakes you up instantly. You rub your teeth with a rough piece of cloth or a frayed twig. Do you really need artificial mint paste to have clean teeth? The water is clear and cold, and it carries away the sleep from your eyes. You feel the rough sand under your feet as you stand on the bank. You are intimately connected to the earth beneath you. You do not fear the dirt or hide from it. You understand it deeply. You know exactly how to use the environment to maintain your body. You are not a primitive beast stumbling through the woods. You are a highly adapted survival expert. How did you learn to take care of yourself without modern technology? Your parents taught you the ways of the forest. Their parents taught them before that. This vital knowledge spans thousands of generations. You carry the accumulated wisdom of human survival in your daily habits. You know exactly what your body needs to thrive. The archaeological record tells a surprising story about your mouth. Karen Hardy is a researcher who studies ancient diets and daily habits. She examined the teeth of Neanderthals from the El Sidrón cave in Spain. She found tiny grooves etched deeply into the sides of their teeth. These marks were left by small pieces of wood. Your ancestors picked their teeth obsessively after every single meal. They used sharpened bone splinters and stiff grass stems to remove trapped food. Why do you assume they simply let their teeth rot and fall out? Hardy also found chemical traces hidden in the hardened dental plaque. This hardened plaque is scientifically called calculus. She discovered physical evidence of yarrow and chamomile trapped in the stone. These are specific wild plants with well-known medicinal properties. You chew these bitter plants intentionally when you feel unwell. You use them to soothe an upset stomach or clean your sour breath. You are practicing early preventative medicine. You do not consume refined white sugar in your daily life. Your diet consists of tough game meats and fibrous wild plants. You eat crunchy roots and raw seasonal vegetables. This incredibly tough food naturally scrubs your teeth as you forcefully chew. The mechanical action wipes away the sticky bacterial films. Your jaw is significantly wider than a modern human jaw. This extra biological space means your teeth grow in perfectly straight. You do not need expensive metal braces to fix your bite. You rarely ever get painful cavities. Dental decay is incredibly rare in the Paleolithic era. Your teeth wear down heavily over time, but they remain functional. What happens when a tooth does get seriously damaged? Accidents happen constantly in the unpredictable wild. You might bite down too hard on a hidden stone in your food. Federico Bernardini is an archaeologist who made a startling historical discovery. He examined a fossilized human jawbone found in a cave in Slovenia. It dates back roughly 6,500 years. He found a large vertical crack in one of the canine teeth. The crack had been meticulously filled with natural beeswax. Beeswax is naturally antibacterial and highly malleable. It seals the sensitive inner nerve of the damaged tooth perfectly. This is the oldest known successful dental filling in human history. Your ancestors performed successful dentistry long before the invention of the electric drill. They understood how to permanently stop agonizing mouth pain. They knew exactly how to prevent lethal infection in the mouth. How many other advanced medical procedures did they perfect? You rinse your mouth with a handful of river water. You spit into the dense green bushes. Your teeth feel smooth and your breath is neutral. You walk back toward your camp to begin your daily tasks. Let us look at how you manage your skin. You sweat heavily when you hunt large game. You run for miles tracking fleeing prey across the dusty plains. You get covered in animal blood and dark soil. Water alone is not enough to cut through the heavy bodily oils. You need something much more powerful to get truly clean. You discover that mixing rendered animal fat with white wood ash from your campfire creates a slippery substance. This basic chemical reaction creates the earliest known form of crude soap. You use it to aggressively scrub your hands and body. Did you think soap was an exclusively modern invention? The wood ash provides a gentle but effective abrasive texture. The animal fat binds directly to the dirt and oils on your sweating skin. The rushing river water washes it all the way downstream. You do not use this harsh mixture every single day. You only use it when you are truly filthy from a butchering. You actively preserve the natural moisturizing oils on your body. These natural oils protect your skin from the bitter wind and the freezing cold. You also use the earth itself to protect your vulnerable skin. Christopher Henshelwood is an archaeologist who excavated the famous Blombos Cave in South Africa. He found ancient grinding stones completely covered in a bright red mineral powder. This fine red powder is called ochre. He found complete ancient processing kits dating back 100,000 years. You mix this crushed red ochre with heated animal fat. You create a thick and sticky red paste. You smear this paste all over your bare body and face. It acts as a highly effective physical barrier against the harsh baking sun. It also actively repels dangerous mosquitoes and biting insects. Do you realize this is the world's first multi-purpose cosmetic and medical ointment? The bright red color also holds deep symbolic meaning for your tribe. You paint your skin for sacred rituals and large social gatherings. You look fierce and beautifully decorated. The wet ochre dries quickly in the hot sun. It essentially creates a protective second skin. It completely shields you from damaging ultraviolet radiation. It stops biting insects from transmitting blood-borne diseases. You wash it off when you finally return to the river at dusk. The water turns a cloudy red around your legs. Your skin beneath the paint is completely healthy and intact. You understand the hidden chemistry of the earth. You actively use the natural minerals to your distinct advantage. How many modern chemical sunscreens contain harmful artificial ingredients? You only use exactly what the natural land provides. You are safe and protected. Your thick hair is a completely different challenge altogether. You cannot simply walk into a brightly lit store and buy a plastic bottle of shampoo. You let your dark hair grow long and thick. It naturally produces a heavy oil called sebum. This natural oil protects the fragile hair strands from breaking in the wind. Too much oil makes your hair heavy and attracts unwanted dirt. You find a deposit of fine gray clay near the muddy riverbank. You rub this wet, gritty clay deep into your itchy scalp. The porous clay forcefully binds to the excess grease and dirt. You vigorously rinse the heavy clay out in the rushing water. Does your hair feel significantly cleaner now? The earth itself acts as your reliable daily cleanser. You use intricate combs meticulously carved from bone and deer antler. You detangle your wet, heavy hair very carefully. These bone combs have sharp teeth set very close together. They are not just used for looking stylish. They are an absolutely essential tool for your daily survival. Lice are a constant and incredibly irritating companion. You cannot simply wash them away with river water. You sit around the crackling fire in the evening with your family group. This is the most critically important part of your daily hygiene routine. Who is meticulously picking the bugs out of your long hair today? Grooming is a deeply ingrained and necessary social act. You sit completely still while someone carefully parts your hair. They search diligently for fast-moving adult lice. They look closely for the tiny sticky eggs known as nits. They crush the offending insects between their hard fingernails. You happily return the favor for them when they are finished. This continuous physical touch forcefully releases endorphins in your brain. It rapidly lowers your resting heart rate. It significantly reduces your daily stress levels. It strengthens the vital bonds of trust within your small hunting tribe. Can you imagine trusting someone enough to let them pick parasites from your bare skin? This specific activity takes several hours to complete. It is not considered a boring chore. It is a dedicated time for vivid storytelling and deep social bonding. You talk openly about the successes of the hunt. You plan strategy for the next challenging day. The fire crackles warmly in the background. The intense heat soothes your tired and aching muscles. You feel entirely safe and protected in this tight circle. You rely entirely on each other for physical cleanliness. You cannot possibly survive alone in this wilderness. You cannot successfully keep yourself clean alone. Social grooming is the invisible glue that holds your ancient society together. Primates have done this specific action for millions of years. You are merely continuing an ancient biological imperative. You feel the gentle tug on your sore scalp. You close your eyes and finally relax. The thick wood smoke effectively keeps the flying insects away. You are clean and you are loved by your people. You must also practically deal with bodily waste. You do not have indoor plumbing or porcelain toilets. You do not have designated public bathrooms. You have something much more effective at your disposal. You have total geographic mobility. You are a nomadic hunter-gatherer. You simply walk a short designated distance away from your camp to relieve yourself. You carefully cover your human waste with loose dirt or dead leaves. When the area immediately surrounding your camp becomes too soiled, you simply pack up and leave. How clean is a modern bathroom that you only use a few times before moving 10 miles away? Richard Lee is a prominent anthropologist who conducted a famous 1963 study. He lived intimately with the Jew/Hoansi people in the Kalahari Desert. He observed their incredibly strict cultural rules about daily sanitation. They designated specific isolated areas for human waste far from their vital water sources. You intuitively follow similar ancient rules of survival. You deeply respect the fresh water. You know that contaminated drinking water brings swift sickness and inevitable death. Karl Reinhard is a dedicated scientist who specializes in archaeoparasitology. He rigorously studies ancient fossilized human feces. These rare fossilized remains are scientifically known as coprolites. He found that nomadic hunter-gatherers carried far fewer intestinal parasites than people who lived in permanent settlements. The constant physical movement successfully broke the life cycle of the parasitic worms and deadly bacteria. You literally walked away from your own infectious diseases. You never stayed in one specific place long enough to contaminate your own pristine environment. The baking sun dries the earth behind you. The scavenging insects rapidly break down the buried waste. Nature efficiently cleans up after you leave. You walk confidently toward fresh and untouched hunting grounds. You drink deeply from pristine and icy mountain streams. You do not constantly worry about contracting cholera or fatal dysentery. Your nomadic lifestyle is your primary and best defense against illness. What happens to your health when you finally decide to stop moving? The absolute freedom of the open landscape protects you. You carry your few essential possessions securely on your back. You leave absolutely nothing behind but temporary footprints and biodegradable waste. You are a silent ghost moving swiftly through the complex ecosystem. You do not seek to conquer the land around you. You actively and respectfully participate in it. You must also safely manage menstruation without any modern absorbent products. You rely entirely on the natural materials growing around you. You use highly absorbent green sphagnum moss. You wrap the soft moss in pliable animal hides. Sphagnum moss is incredibly porous and holds liquid well. It is also naturally and highly acidic. This specific acidity effectively prevents the rapid growth of odor-causing bacteria. You can use it as a highly effective sanitary pad. You can wash the durable leather strips in the river and reuse them. Is this really so functionally different from modern reusable cloth pads? You understand the distinct absorbent qualities of different plants. You routinely use cattail fluff and wide soft leaves. You do not feel any cultural shame. This is a perfectly natural and necessary biological cycle. Wounds and sudden injuries require immediate and effective attention. A simple minor scrape can easily become a lethal blood infection. You do not have modern chemical antibiotics. You have the deep knowledge of the forest. You know exactly which wild plants contain natural antibacterial compounds. You apply thick raw honey directly to a gaping open wound. Honey is a supersaturated natural sugar solution. It actively draws moisture out of bacterial cells and quickly kills them. You pack much deeper wounds with that same acidic sphagnum moss. It aggressively absorbs blood and keeps the deep wounds sterile. Would you trust wild honey to save your life today? You even use specific living insects to actively clean your worst wounds. You know that certain types of blowfly maggots will only eat dead and rotting flesh. You deliberately place these specific maggots into a severe infected wound. They rapidly consume the dangerous necrotic tissue. They leave the healthy pink tissue completely intact. They aggressively secrete a specialized fluid that chemically cleans the area. You let them work tirelessly for a few days before washing them away. This specific medical process is formally called maggot debridement therapy. Do you know modern advanced hospitals still use this exact same medical technique today? You do not view these natural methods as gross or primitive. They are highly effective and necessary medical treatments. You must also fiercely protect your bare feet. You do not have thick protective rubber soles. You walk for dozens of miles every single day over jagged rocks and sharp thorns. You develop incredibly thick, tough calluses on the bottoms of your feet. These heavy calluses act exactly like natural leather shoes. They fully protect the delicate nerves and fragile bones in your feet. They do not entirely prevent you from feeling the textured ground beneath you. You regularly wash your tired feet in the cold streams you cross to prevent fungal infections. Are your expensive modern shoes actually making your feet dangerously weaker? The great turning point in human history irrevocably changes everything. You discover the concept of agriculture. You domesticate wild grasses like tall wheat and barley. You completely stop moving across the land. You build heavy permanent houses out of baked mud and stacked stone. You build them right next to each other in dense clusters. You bring your dirty domesticated animals directly into your crowded village. You live closely and intimately with herds of sheep and pigs and cattle. Have you just made the biggest biological mistake in human history? Agriculture is a devastating trap for your physical health. You now live permanently alongside your own accumulating waste. The nearby rivers become heavily polluted with human and animal feces. The life cycles of deadly parasites are no longer broken by your seasonal migration. Hookworms and aggressive tapeworms ravage your settled community. Animal diseases effortlessly jump the fragile species barrier into vulnerable humans. This is exactly how you get terrible plagues like measles and smallpox and influenza. Why did you eagerly trade your healthy nomadic life for this crowded and filthy existence? Your daily diet changes completely and disastrously. You rely almost entirely on soft farmed carbohydrates. The processed starches rapidly break down into simple sugars in your mouth. The aggressive bacteria in your mouth feast continuously on these sugars. They produce strong acids that quickly eat away at your hard enamel. You begin to experience severe and constant tooth decay. Your lower jaw slowly shrinks over generations because you are no longer chewing tough wild meats. Your crowded teeth become painfully crooked and misaligned. Your rotting mouth becomes a constant source of agonizing pain. Is this the glorious progress you were desperately hoping for? Your brittle bones tell the sad story of this biological decline. Archaeologists carefully compare the robust skeletons of early hunter-gatherers with early settled farmers. The farmers are significantly shorter in overall stature. Their fragile bones show obvious signs of severe malnutrition. They show undeniable evidence of repeated and severe bodily infections. Their crowded teeth are completely riddled with painful cavities and lethal abscesses. Civilization did not make you healthier or cleaner. Civilization successfully made you a permanent magnet for devastating sickness. You foolishly trade your optimal physical health for a highly predictable food supply. You eagerly trade your incredible mobility for static walls and leaking roofs. You permanently trade your highly varied diet for endless bowls of bland grain. You rapidly become a sick prisoner of your own demanding crops. You spend all day doing back-breaking physical labor in the muddy fields. You are constantly exhausted and perpetually sick. The absolute golden age of human physical health is permanently over. You have successfully built a terrible cage of progress. You look closely at your comfortable life today. You stand complacently in a hot steaming shower for 20 minutes. You aggressively scrub your fragile skin with harsh chemical detergents. You actively strip away all the natural protective oils and beneficial bacteria that actually protect you. Your damaged skin quickly becomes dry and chronically irritated. You desperately apply expensive synthetic lotions to artificially replace the moisture you just destroyed. You live constantly in a bizarre state of sterile paranoia. Are you truly cleaner or just deeply obsessed with the costly illusion of cleanliness? You sit all day in a completely sealed room breathing heavily recycled air. You neurotically use chemical hand sanitizer every time you touch a public door handle. You have successfully eradicated the wild natural world from your immediate daily environment. You have also successfully and dangerously weakened your own immune system. Your complex body evolved over millions of years to interact directly with the dirt and the diverse microbes of the natural world. It absolutely needs that constant low-level biological exposure to stay robust and strong. What exactly happens to a bored immune system that has absolutely nothing left to fight? You dutifully brush your straight teeth twice a day with chemical fluoride paste. You still regularly get cavities because your daily diet is completely flooded with processed artificial sugars. You use harsh alcoholic mouthwash that indiscriminately kills both the good and the bad bacteria in your mouth. You completely disrupt the natural and delicate microbiome of your own human body. You are foolishly trying to outsmart millions of years of successful evolution. You are actively fighting a pointless war against nature that you cannot possibly win. Can you ever successfully return to the physical balance your wise ancestors effortlessly had? Your ancient ancestors were intimately and deeply connected to their local environment. They smartly used the wet mud and the white ash and the green plants around them to optimally maintain their strong bodies. They fully understood the physical properties and secrets of the natural world. They were not primitive ignorant beasts wallowing blindly in filth. They were highly adapted and incredibly successful survival experts. They lived successfully in a delicate and beautiful state of physical equilibrium. Do you finally understand how incredibly sophisticated their daily routines really were? You wake up. Your mouth tastes like stale breath and old meat. You reach blindly for a toothbrush that does not exist. It is 30,000 years ago. You are exactly as clean as the earth needs you to be.